Hey guys, somebody sent a message this week asking if we could address the topic of sense of humour in Japan. I've been asked that one a few times actually. It's a tricky one. We have touched on it on other videos a little bit, and I'm going to put this in on the how-to playlist because it is sort of an important one for people who are coming to Japan, who are going to be interacting with other people here. For a few reasons. One is there's a couple of things that might be funny in other countries that aren't funny here, and there's some stuff that's funny here that's not funny in other countries. So I'll just start by making the obvious observation that sense of humour is an individual thing, so there's all sorts of different people with all sorts of different sense of humours, of course, same as there is in any other country. So we can't say everybody's the same, of course, as always with these topics. There's lots of sweeping generalizations, but again, basically it's just going to be a bunch of observations. So what you will see if you come to Japan, what you'll see. One thing that comes to mind straight away is sarcasm. Sarcasm usually, you don't usually hear sarcasm here, and most people here don't usually get sarcasm, so it's really not worth using. If you make some sarcastic comment, it generally meets with a baffled expression. It's a really hot day, and you walk in and you say, "It's a bit warm, isn't it?" Or a nice cool day, isn't it? Or something like that, and they'll sort of like look at you like you're crazy. So best not to try sarcasm. Actually, I'd go a step further than that. Someone asked me about this once before, sent me a message and said that he was a bit of a joker, and tell me what's funny in Japan, because when I come to Japan, I want to be able to be funny, and I can understand that because I like to try to be funny sometimes myself. But to be honest, I think it's not worth trying. If you're with people, you're going to be with people long term, living with people long term. I'm not talking about a few months, I'm talking about, like forever, like in-laws or something. You're going to be with people long term, then, you might be able to work out what the people find funny, what the different people in your life find funny, and, what makes that person laugh and what makes that person laugh. But to be honest, with people you're only going to be with short term, it's not really worthwhile. It's just my opinion. Other people, I'm sure, have other opinions on this, but it's just not. It's just too difficult. With the language barrier, the cultural barrier, and everything else, it's just too easy to insult someone or offend somebody, or just have people think you're an idiot because you've made a joke that nobody got. And if they know that you're making a joke, often they will laugh because they'll try to make you feel better. But they may well laugh, and I'm sure there's lots of people that say, "Oh, I was really funny when I was in Japan. Everybody thought I was really funny." Well, yeah, possibly, maybe. I'm sure they laughed, no doubt about it. But why? Why did they laugh? So, yeah, difficult. As for what we see here, okay, sense of humour, big generalisations. Often see people, for example, on television. It's sort of a slapstick sense of humour on TV, and those of you who've seen it, I can't show you this stuff because it's all copyright, and Japanese copyright laws are really strict, so I can't take stuff off TV and show it to you because it's not cool. I'll get into trouble from YouTube. But anybody who's seen any Japanese TV, and a lot of you guys will have seen this sort of stuff. It's quite famous around the world. There is some stuff on YouTube, some Japanese game shows. Search Japanese game show on YouTube, you'll see some. And a lot of it's really slapstick, the sort of stuff. There's some competition, and if they get the question wrong, they get hit on the arse with a big rubber glove, with a big that's pretty funny, with a big rubber baseball bat, or you know, that sort of slapstick humour is really popular. Yeah, lots of slapstick and lots of humour like the old Abbott and Costello, or Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, or recently Jerry Seinfeld and George Costanza. You know, you've got one sort of serious, sensible person, and you got one clown, and they bounce off each other, and the clown says something stupid, and the other guy slaps him over the back of the head. That's popular here, and you see that quite a lot here, where, you know, one guy's being the serious, intelligent guy, and the other guy's being an idiot, and he slaps him on the... Actually, what they do is they open palm them on the forehead like this, bang. And be aware of that one too, because if you're with a group of guys, and those guys feel like, you know, if they like you, and you make a joke, it's possible that some guy will palm you on the forehead, bang, bang, and whether you're male or female, will palm you on the forehead. And that's because that's a standard joke genre or style in Japan, is the serious guy, straight guy thing. So if you make a silly joke, first time that happened to me here, I was really surprised. I was sitting with a group of guys, I made a joke, and the guy sitting beside me palmed me on the forehead. Bang! On the forehead, bang. It surprised the hell out of me. I had no idea what was going on. Hey. So the first time someone does that to you, don't hit them, because what they were doing was they were showing you they like you, and they were taking their role in that game. And this is often the case too with the humour here. It sort of fits it's like the pie in the face in America. You know, it fits a certain pattern, you know, and it's the same as the Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin, the Abbott Costello, the Seinfeld Costanza, that pattern. And they like that pattern of humour here. So you have, I'm not saying they got it from America, I'm saying that pattern where there's one person does this and the other person does that. It's sort of like predictable humour is popular here. So it's predictable. This person says this person says that. And it's sort of predictable. You know it's coming. And that's why it's funny. It's sort of, that's why they find it funny, because it's that pattern. You know, and the reactions to stuff. Talked before on videos about the hive mind and about the standard behaviours and stuff, and that often is the case with the sense of humour too. The reactions to stuff. So somebody says there's one style of guy is like the clown style of guy, right? And someone says something, and the guy overreacts. A very sort of a theatrical reaction is really common here too, and they find that funny. They think, a lot of people find that funny. They think that's comical. That's what it is. It's comical behaviour. That's a good word for a lot of the humour here. It's comical behaviour is funny here. So behaving like, you know, overacting, theatrical, you know, overreacting. You know, the double take head and that sort of overreacting theatrical behaviour is popular here. And you will see clowns here in groups of people. There will often be, you know, someone who behaves like this. And the foreigners that do live here long term, the ones that do want to be comedians here and do want to be funny here and make people laugh here, quite often that's what you have to resort to. Because that's sort of the most common humour here, is that theatrical, comical, clown type behaviour. And sadly on TV, that's what you often see too. The foreigners that have made it here on Japanese TV, you're usually clowns. They're not usually clever. They're usually just clowns being clownish, you know, which is sort of a bit embarrassing to watch, which some of us prefer not to watch at all actually, but that's just the way it is. Now, having said that, there is other people with different sense of humour as well. Another more sort of intellectual type humour here is the double meaning on words. Is very popular, and wordplay, and with Japanese, sometimes that's one word with two meanings. For example, I had a martial arts teacher once. We were sitting there drinking tea, and mushiatsui is means humid. So mushiatsui means humid. That's a police car in front of us, by the way, guys, seeing as you can see it. Mushiatsui means humid, and we were drinking green tea in a dojo, and a bug landed in his tea, and in Japanese the word for bug is mushi, and atsui is hot, right? So one meaning mushiatsui means humid, but he had a bug in his hot tea, so he looked in and he said mushiatsui, because hot bug basically. So play on words, very funny. Everybody laughed. So that sort of humour is funny too. And then also Japanese can use another extension of the double meaning because they've got kanji, so they can do stuff with kanji. So you'll often get a joke that can be difficult. You'll get a joke and everybody will laugh, and you go, I don't quite get that one. What's the story there? And then someone will say, oh, it's because the kanji for that word is this, and the kanji for that word is this. That's why it's funny. Happens. So yes, there's probably lots more examples. Look, some of it's, I don't want to sound too negative about it because some of it is actually quite funny. That group of guys, there's a group of guys at downtown that do that humour with the, get the question wrong, you hit on the backside with a big rubber bat. Those guys are actually pretty funny. I actually quite like those guys. They're pretty clever. They'll do things like, they do one game show, not a game show, but they do one game that they played in their group where they set each other up with really funny scenarios that are really funny, and if they laugh or smile, they get hit on the backside with the big bat. And that can be pretty funny because the stuff that they're using to make them laugh can be pretty funny. So some of it's pretty funny. I don't want to sound negative. I'm just trying to sound sort of realistic and honest about it. What I see, again, it's just observations. It's just observations. So yeah, I mean, again, I want to put this on the how-to playlist, and my advice would be, if you just be a little bit careful. I understand the desire to be a clown. In my old country, I was much more of a clown than I am here, but here I tend to be much more quite conservative because it's safer. And again, you don't have to play it safe. You can do whatever you want. But my advice is just to play it safe and be a little bit more quiet. The smart way it seems to be here is whatever behaviours you did in your old country is to just tone them down here and be a little bit neutral here. A little bit is a good idea. Not always, and you'll find people that you can really relax with and so on, but it's safer if you want to be safe. If you don't want to risk doing something or saying something that's going to cause you some hassles, and because it can, if you make the wrong joke at the wrong time. And someone asked me once about blue jokes, asked me once about joking about sex, or I can't remember how they worded it. I would stay right out of that. I wouldn't get involved in any sort of jokes like that at all. It's just too easy to be misinterpreted. You're speaking a second language. You're speaking Japanese. You're not speaking English. And again, quite often you can't take, as well as these cultural differences, you also can't take what might be funny in English and put it straight into Japanese, because it may not be. And I'll give you an example of that. I've seen Japanese movies with English subtitles, and in Japanese the joke was funny, and in English it just wasn't. And I've also seen English movies, so like Hollywood movies with funny Hollywood movies with Japanese subtitles or Japanese dubbing, and they're just not funny in Japanese. And that's quite often the case. It's just because the language it's a different language. It's a different language, and what's funny in one language might not be funny in the other. So for those reasons, and for the cultural reasons, and for the simply what's funny and what isn't, it's just safer just to stay out of it. It's not worth it. In some countries, being the clown and the life of the party and the funny guy is a good thing. Here, I'm not convinced it is. Usually the guy that's the clown, or the girl that's the clown here, although people might enjoy the entertainment value, they're usually not sort of treated with a lot of respect, and you might get left out of a lot of stuff too if you go down that track. So So yeah, look, if you're coming to Japan, my suggestion would be to just observe for yourself the sense of humour and just observe it. You know, observe it for yourself. Look, listen. Like with all these topics, you know, the really the difference between people who do well here, the foreigners who do well here and those who don't, I think, is the ability to look, listen and learn. Really, you know, above and beyond videos, listening to videos like this one or reading books or anything else. Really the best way to learn about Japan is just to look, listen and learn. And for that reason too, you don't really want to be the life of the party. It's much better to be listening, you know, to be watching and listening and observing what's going on around you rather than being in the centre with everybody looking at you is not really a good way to be here. Much better to be looking and listening and learning some stuff about what's going on, you know. So anyway, I'm sure as soon as I stop this video I'm going to think of something else, because it is an interesting topic, the whole comedy sense of humour thing. There's quite a lot to it, but I think we've touched on the most important parts anyway. So I hope there's something of value there for somebody, a little bit interesting or a little bit amusing or a little bit baffling probably. Anyway, hope you found that interesting. More videos coming soon.